All right, Celtics Nation. Let's dive in and break down what's been happening with our Boston Celtics so far this season, because there's a lot to unpack, and it goes way beyond the surface of just wins and losses. Coming into training camp, there was this collective excitement about how the Celtics could transform from being perceived as a slower, half-court-oriented team last season into a high-paced, up-and-down-the-court juggernaut, a team that could push the tempo and create opportunities in transition almost every possession. Fans and analysts alike were caught up in this potential dramatic shift, imagining a Celtics team that could fly past defenses, overwhelm opponents with speed, and turn every defensive stop into a quick bucket. It was a vision that sounded thrilling, and the players themselves bought into it wholeheartedly. Joe's approach in training camp emphasized running the floor, conditioning, and developing chemistry under a high-pressure, fast-paced style of play. Every player remarked on how intense and challenging camp was, and it became clear quickly that the shift to a super-fast offense would require much more than just athleticism and willpower. Reality set in almost immediately. Speed alone would not suffice. Rebounding remained crucial. You cannot rely on steals alone to generate transition opportunities. While the Celtics have certainly increased the number of chances to push the ball after defensive stops, it's not as simple as just grabbing a steal and racing down the court. The team must secure defensive rebounds consistently to create genuine fast break opportunities, and failing to do so has been a limiting factor. Players like Jaylen Brown are experiencing firsthand the demands of being a primary option in a system that asks not just for scoring, but for total engagement on both ends of the floor. The physical and mental toll of having to come down, initiate the offense, and make decisions while being the focus of defensive schemes has made it clear that playing super fast is not a sustainable pace for the team, given its current composition. Transition opportunities are certainly present, but they are tempered by the realities of needing to rebound and defend effectively. Another key factor is the talent mix on the roster. The Celtics have integrated more complex offensive sets this season, with layers that require disciplined execution and smart decision-making. Players like Jordan Walsh and Josh Minott provide options for spacing and passing that were not as viable in previous years, giving the team more flexibility, but also demanding more coordination. The half-court offense now incorporates multiple reads and movement patterns, which naturally slows down the pace of possessions compared to a run-and-gun approach. Even though the Celtics move the ball, make cuts, and attempt to push tempo, some possessions now take 15 to 20 seconds to develop fully, especially when facing slower teams like Orlando or the Clippers, who do not create the same transition opportunities. Overall, this means that while the team is running plays at a faster tempo than last year, the pace relative to the rest of the league might appear slower. They are currently averaging under 100 possessions per game, one of the few teams in the NBA with that mark, even as the league as a whole trends toward faster, higher possession games. However, pace is not the only story. The Celtics remain effective offensively, maintaining a top 10 offense while forcing turnovers and creating secondary opportunities. They are efficient in execution, even if it is less flashy than a pure, transition-focused style. The bottom line is that expectations may need recalibration. The Celtics are not going to morph into a team that scores 160 points a game like the historic up-tempo squads of the past. The makeup of the roster, with certain isolation-heavy players and fewer natural defensive rebounders, dictates a style that prioritizes smart execution, movement, and tempo, rather than relentless up-and-down running. Improving rebounding will naturally speed things up, as securing defensive boards will allow for more genuine transition chances. But the overall structure of the team suggests a different identity. The Celtics are balancing speed, offensive sets, and defensive responsibilities to remain competitive in both half-court and transition scenarios, and this balance will continue to define their style as the season progresses. Players like Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, and Derek White carry a heavier load in orchestrating offense while contributing defensively, which further explains why the pace may not match preseason expectations of lightning-fast basketball. The team is working hard to maximize their abilities within the constraints of personnel, strategy, and opposition, finding a rhythm that combines creativity in the half-court with opportunistic moments in transition. This nuanced approach requires patience from fans, as well as recognition that while the Celtics may not be leading the league in possessions, they are still executing efficiently and maintaining a competitive edge in the Eastern Conference. The challenge lies in blending speed, skill, and teamwork into a cohesive unit that can adapt to different opponents while still leveraging their individual talents, particularly in critical moments of each game. Boston is experimenting with lineups and rotations to optimize performance, and there is ongoing discussion about how best to utilize players like Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons in starting and bench roles to maximize efficiency without compromising team chemistry. Finding the right balance is crucial, as it affects both the flow of the offense and defensive coverage. This includes exploring how to create space, manage shot selection, and ensure that each player is in a position to make a meaningful impact on the game. It's a delicate balancing act that requires understanding not just the strengths of the roster, but also the strategic tendencies of opponents, as well as in-game adjustments that can shift momentum. Furthermore, potential trades and acquisitions remain on the radar as the Celtics seek to enhance their roster. Centers like Vita Zubac have been discussed in the context of the team's need for size and rebounding, though acquiring a player like that involves complex negotiations, salary matching, and potential multi-team deals. Boston's front office must consider not just immediate impact, but long-term roster construction, draft assets, and the ability to remain competitive in the Eastern Conference. Exploring creative solutions, such as facilitating trades that provide ancillary pieces rather than prime stars, could be key to obtaining a player who fits the team's needs without disrupting its current core. The Celtics' ability to maneuver in trade discussions reflects both strategy and flexibility, and it highlights the importance of building a team capable of contending now while planning for sustained success. Continuing with the Boston Celtics, it's important to consider how the dynamics of this team are evolving over the first portion of the season. While the idea of a high-speed, up-and-down-the-court style has captured the imagination of fans, the reality is much more layered, and understanding the depth of that complexity is essential for anyone analyzing their performance. The Celtics have undoubtedly embraced a faster tempo compared to last season, but it's not just about raw speed. Every possession involves decision-making, spacing, and timing, and when you add in defensive responsibilities, the energy required to sustain this style becomes significant. Jaylen Brown, as the primary offensive option, has been the clearest example of this challenge. Being the go-to scorer means he faces constant defensive pressure, requiring not only offensive skill, but also stamina and mental focus. The repeated sequences of pushing the ball, engaging in transition, executing half-court sets, and then immediately switching to defense demand a level of endurance and basketball IQ that cannot be underestimated. Each possession is multi-layered, where the team must balance aggression with control, speed with precision, and individual initiative with collective execution. It is also evident that the Celtics' rebounding issues have been a limiting factor in fully realizing their potential in transition. Securing defensive boards is not just a statistic. It fundamentally affects the team's ability to run the floor and create high-quality scoring opportunities. When rebounds are missed or contested poorly, the chance to turn defense into offense diminishes, slowing the pace naturally and forcing players to expend additional energy recovering or defending again. This is one of the key elements that differentiates the Celtics from other high-tempo teams, like the Miami Heat or Chicago Bulls, who are able to consistently generate transition opportunities because they control the boards more effectively. Beyond rebounding, the composition of the roster also plays a pivotal role in shaping the style of play. Boston has integrated younger players and role contributors like Jordan Walsh, Josh Minott, and others into the offensive system, creating both flexibility and additional complexity. These players provide spacing, help facilitate passes, and open driving lanes, which is crucial for a half-court offense that relies on movement, but they're not yet the kind of impact players who could dominate possessions on their own. The coaching staff has implemented intricate sets to maximize the strengths of the entire roster, requiring patience and disciplined execution. Each offensive sequence can take 15 to 20 seconds to develop, meaning that while the team is moving with pace, it is not running at an uncontrolled speed. Playing against slower teams further impacts this rhythm, as the Celtics must adjust their strategy to maintain efficiency without forcing turnovers or rush shots. These nuanced adjustments explain why Boston's average possessions per game sit below 100, even as the league overall moves at a faster tempo. It is a reminder that speed alone does not define a team. Effective offense combines timing, spacing, player decision-making, and adaptability. The Celtics are finding ways to create these advantages while remaining competitive on both ends of the floor. Turnovers are being forced through active defense. Steals are converted into fast break opportunities when possible, and half-court execution remains highly efficient. The offensive balance is evident in the team ranking among the top 10 in scoring, demonstrating that speed and tempo are just one component of a broader, strategic approach. Looking forward, there are also personnel considerations that will influence the Celtics' evolution. Players like Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons offer flexibility in rotations, and experimenting with starting lineups versus bench roles could optimize performance for both individual confidence and overall team flow. Finding the right configuration is essential to sustain offensive efficiency and defensive integrity, and small adjustments could have outsized impacts on both pace and scoring output. The front office continues to evaluate options for improving the roster, particularly with respect to size, rebounding, and versatility. Potential acquisitions like Vita Zubac have been discussed, highlighting the complexity of trades in the modern NBA. Obtaining a player of that caliber requires not just matching salaries, but careful negotiation, often involving multiple teams and future assets. The Celtics are likely to pursue strategic opportunities that enhance their roster without disrupting the current balance, leveraging flexibility and creativity in trade discussions to fill gaps, particularly in the frontcourt. This approach emphasizes long-term planning while maintaining competitiveness in the Eastern Conference. The team's current trajectory also illustrates the importance of managing expectations. While fans may hope for a relentless, high-speed style reminiscent of historic Celtics teams, the reality is that Boston's current identity blends controlled tempo with disciplined half-court execution. This identity is shaped by personnel, strategy, and opponent matchups, and it requires patience and understanding from the fan base. The combination of increased complexity in offensive sets, defensive responsibilities, and the physical demands of being a primary scorer like Jaylen Brown contributes to a pace that may seem slower relative to other teams, but is highly effective within the team system. Players are learning to balance energy expenditure, decision-making, and execution, gradually finding the rhythm that maximizes both individual skill and team efficiency. As the season progresses, improvements in rebounding, lineup experimentation, and potential roster enhancements could naturally accelerate the pace of play. However, the core identity of the Celtics is unlikely to transform into a pure, high-possession team. Instead, success will come from mastering the intricacies of their system, executing plays with precision, and leveraging both individual talent and collective strategy. Fans should focus on the efficiency, adaptability, and creativity on display, recognizing that while the team may not always play at breakneck speed, they are consistently challenging opponents, creating scoring opportunities, and positioning themselves as a top contender. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Exclusive sources from inside the Boston Celtics locker room are buzzing with tension after what some are calling a bold stand by Jaylen Brown. According to insiders, Brown has reportedly rejected a so-called partnership without balls, a term that's already stirring speculation across the league about power dynamics and player influence in the Celtics locker room. While the details remain murky, those close to the team describe the scene as electric, with emotions running high and conversations that could reshape relationships on the roster. The phrase, partnership without balls, has sparked debates among analysts and fans alike, as it suggested disagreement over leadership accountability, and perhaps even playing style. Brown, known for his outspoken nature and fierce competitiveness, is said to have made it clear that he won't compromise on his approach to the game or his role within the team. This has reportedly caused friction with teammates who are navigating the delicate balance of camaraderie and individual ambition. Inside sources hint that the locker room atmosphere has become fiery, with heated exchanges and whispers of players questioning strategies, rotations, and decision-making processes. The Celtics, long considered a team with deep talent and a strong culture, now find themselves under an intense microscope as rumors of internal discord spread. While management has yet to comment publicly, the energy among players and staff is said to be palpable, with some veteran voices reportedly stepping in to mediate and keep tensions from spilling into the public eye. For Jaylen Brown, this move could signal a larger statement about his position in the league and his unwillingness to settle for a role that doesn't align with his competitive standards. Whether this standoff marks a turning point for team dynamics or merely a temporary flare-up remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The Celtics locker room is anything but quiet right now. Fans, pundits, and rivals are watching closely, waiting to see if this latest burst of tension will spark a reshaping of alliances or a dramatic showdown. The Celtics' journey this season is now shadowed by more than just on-court performance, with Brown reportedly refusing to engage in what he sees as a half-measure approach. The rumor mill is heating up, and the pressure is mounting for everyone involved. In a league where egos and ambition collide, Boston might just be at the epicenter of its most talked-about drama yet. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.